Okay, so we will start our today's lecture. Good morning. I'm Dr. Kanade again. Today we will see the PKTNF 458 internal registers, the important ones, like the program counter, status register, BSR means bank select registers, and the stack and stack pointer. Okay. So program counter is, you can see the definition here. It holds the address of the next instruction to be executed. This is the most important thing to understand, that program counter holds the address of the next instruction to be executed. Okay. So obviously it has to hold the address of the program memory because instructions are written in the program memory. Okay. So since program counter in PKTNF 458 is 21 bit, so maximum program memory that we can address is 2 raised to 21 locations, which corresponds to 2 mega locations, 2 million locations, 2 mega locations, and B stands for byte, means each location will hold 8-bit information. Okay. However, in PKTNF 458 IC, we have only 32 kilobytes of on-chip program memory. So the address, instead of 1 FFFFF, means the 21 ones, it is only up to 07 FFF. Okay. Because we do not have all the 2 MB memory available on the chip. We only have 32 kilobytes of memory for writing our programs. Okay. This program counter automatically increments when the CPU fetches opcode from the program node. Now this 32 KB available memory plays an important role while deciding how much instructions we can write. Okay, so that's what the question asked the other day was, that how many one-word instructions can be written. Now, one word, single word for PKTNF 458 instructions is 16 bits. Okay. One location holds 8 bits. So for one word or one instruction, we will need 2 locations, right? 2 locations are required for one instruction. And therefore, how many we can write? Since we have 32K, okay, 32K locations we have, so divide by 2, it will be 16K instructions we can write. Actually, K is not just 1000, K means 1024. If you remember, from in digital world, K kilo is 1024. It is not actually 1000. It is not a metric system, it is a digital system. Okay, so that's why the answer here is that we can write 16,384 16-bit instructions maximum in the PKTNF 458 IC on-chip memory. You can see here we are talking about this on-chip memory. Okay, on-chip memory we are talking about. This is the maximum address where we can write instructions. If we try to write somewhere here, or if we try to read something from here, we will get only 0. Okay, we cannot write anything in this space, or we cannot read anything from this space. Okay, now coming to the next very important register, it is the status register. You may also know this as PSW, program status word, from the 8051, right? What it means, this is the status register which indicates the operation, arithmetic and logic operations that have happened inside the microcontroller, inside the ALU. Okay. You probably know some of these flags, but there are certain changes and there are certain peculiarities that you should note yourself. Okay. Now what these flags are, will start from the LSB. Okay, as you can see, in general the register is always 8-bit. However, in this case we have only 5 bits which are used, and these 3 bits are unused. Okay, so bit 0 in this here, bit 0 is C. C stands for carry flag. Okay, so this carry flag is set whenever there is a carry out of the D7 bit of the working register, D7 bit of the accumulator. Now the word accumulator is not generally used in PKTNF. We will always use the word working register W. Okay, remember this, the carry out is from the D7 bit. Okay, means the MSB of W. Now we were talking about the carry flag, and this is affected after 8-bit addition or subtraction operation. Remember this, that carry flag is affected after 8-bit addition or subtraction. Means what? Means unsigned addition or subtraction. You know the difference between signed addition or signed arithmetic and unsigned arithmetic, right? In unsigned arithmetic, all the 8 bits in a byte correspond to the magnitude, whereas in signed arithmetic, the MSB corresponds to the sign of the number, right? 1 is negative, 0 is positive. Okay, so remember, the carry flag is set whenever there is a carry out of the D7 bit. Okay, now the digit carry flag, the second flag from the right hand side, or the second LSB flag, is digit carry. This you may also remember as auxiliary carry. Sometimes it is called auxiliary carry. Okay, so this DC, digit carry flag, is set when there is a carry from D3 to D4. Okay, means from lower nibble to upper nibble. If there is a carry, then this DC flag is set. This is set during add or sub instruction, subtraction instruction, addition or subtraction instructions. Okay, then there is a 0 flag. It reflects result of arithmetic or logic operation. Remember, not only arithmetic, it also reflects the result of logic operation. What do you mean by logic operation? Logic operation means what? The logical operations like AND, OR, XOR, negative. Okay, like these operations are also possible in the microcontroller, and this 0 flag is affected because of both arithmetic and logic operations. So if the result is 0, then 0 flag is set. Remember this is something twisted thing, right? If result of the operation, whatever operation has happened in the ALU, the result of that operation, if the result is 0, then the 0 flag is set. If the result is not 0, then the 0 flag is not set, or the 0 flag remains 0. Okay, this is similar. Actually all these 3 flags are similar to what you had in the 8051 also. Okay, now the OV flag, overflow flag. Now this is a little bit tricky, and it is different from the carry flag. Okay, remember, first and foremost important thing, that it is used for signed arithmetic. Okay, it is used for signed arithmetic. Means the numbers that are that you are going to manipulate or operate on, those are having 7-bit magnitude and 8th bit as sign bit. Okay, so when overflow flag is set, it means that overflow of the 7-bit magnitude has occurred. Okay, now you clearly should be able to distinguish between the carry and overflow. Okay, overflow flag indicates overflow of the 7-bit magnitude. Okay, and carry flag indicates overflow from the 8-bit. D7 means 8, right? Bit starts from 0, 7, right? Overflow, the carry flag indicates overflow from the D7 bit or the 8th bit, and overflow flag indicates the overflow from the 7th bit when the numbers are whenever we are doing signed arithmetic. Okay, so remember this big difference between carry and overflow. This question is very frequently asked during your orals. Okay, one thing, in the theory question paper, this question is very frequently asked to explain the status register. Okay, and in orals many times you will be asked this kind of question: what is the difference between carry and overflow, or negative? Because these two flags, overflow and negative n, these flags are used for signed arithmetic. That's what is the main difference causing element. Okay, the last flag in the PIC18F status register is negative flag. It is used for signed arithmetic again, and it indicates whether the result of ALU, whether the result of the arithmetic and logic unit is negative. Okay, means MSB of ALU is 1. 1 indicates whenever we are doing signed arithmetic, as I said, 7 bits indicate the magnitude, and the 8th bit, the MSB, indicate the sign of the number. If that sign bit is 1, it means the number is negative. So if that sign bit is 1, MSB of the ALU is 1, the negative flag is set. Otherwise it remains 0. Okay, these bits are going to play a very important role for looping. Now looping means what? You remember in C programming you had while loop and for loops, right? Those are used to perform same number of instructions or same number of statements multiple number of times, right? In those cases, these flags are going to be very important, play a very important role. All these flags have instructions associated with them which will allow you to create your loops. That's why this is very important to understand these flags. Okay, if you have any question, you should raise your hand, or you should put in the chat box. Okay. Okay, so moving on now, after this status register, we have another very important concept, that is stack and stack pointer. Similar concept you have already studied in 8051, but the concept is similar, but the way it operates is very different. Okay, if you have noted down our simplified block diagram which I have shown you in the first lecture, you would remember that the stack memory is separate from program memory as well as data memory. It is a separate section of memory, the stack. Okay, and that is the here is how the stack memory is available to us. Okay, you can see here these on this side, these 5 bits you can see, these are the addresses of the stack memory. Okay, what are they? 00000 to 11111. These are binary numbers, these are binary addresses. Okay, so you can see this stack pointer, is a how many bits? This is a 5-bit stack pointer. Okay, so how many addresses it can take? 00000 to 11111 means this is what, in if you consider in decimal numbers, from 0 to 31. Okay, these are the addresses that we can store in the stack pointer, right? So maximum stack memory that we have available is a 31 word by 21 bit space. Now what it means? At each of these locations, you can see here what are these are some example values written: 001A34H. What is this value? This is a hexadecimal value. Okay, what data is written on the stack memory is the address of the program memory. The stack memory stores temporarily the program memory locations during the program subroutine calls, right? And also during interrupts. Now what is this? If we want to run a subroutine or a sub program, then what we do? The contents of the program counter go to the stack memory, okay, and some new address is loaded to the program counter. This is how we change the flow of the program, right? This concept you have used while calling subroutines in the 8051 programming also, okay. At the time of interrupts also this happens. We are of course going to see in very much details about how this is going to exactly function, okay. But right now we are just taking a look at the stack and stack pointer. So to note down clearly, the stack pointer is a 5-bit register, and stack pointer register, if you ask, then it is a 8-bit register, where the 5 bits correspond to the pointer which will point. See here, STK-PTR stack pointer 0 to 4 means 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bits. These indicate the address of the stack, okay. So 0, 0, 0, 0, 0 to 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, these are the addresses, and at each address we can store 21 bits. However, at this location, at this 0th location, no storage, okay. We cannot store anything. We cannot write a address at the 0th location. That's why how much memory we can have? These are 0 to 31 means 32 locations, minus 1 means, because here we cannot write anything, so we have 31 locations where we can write, and at each location we can write 21 bits. That's why the total stack memory is 31 word by 21 bit space, okay. So we can write maximum 31 calls in our program, maximum 31 calls and interrupts in combined mode, okay. These 2 bits STK UNF means this is stack underflow, and STK FUL is stack full. What it means? If you try, if the stack pointer is indicating here, is having value 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, and if you still want still use an instruction, for example a call instruction, where you want to increase the stack and write down something there, then this stack full bit will become 1, okay. Similarly, if you are here and if you try to remove some value from the stack, that time this flag will become 1. This is just to indicate that you are this flag when it becomes 1, it indicates that the stack is now empty, whereas this flag when it becomes 1, it indicates that the stack is now full, okay. The stack pointer always points to the top of the stack. Now what is top of the stack is this. You can see whatever is written, whenever it is written somewhere, whenever something is written, now you can see here, if this is the stack, here it is always 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. At this location, location number 1, something is written. At location number 2, something is written, okay. There is nothing written above that. So this is the top of the stack. You can consider this like a placing of plates one over the other, right? One over the other, you keep on placing plates. So whenever you want to place a next plate, you will have to increment the location and then place it there. So this is what is called the top of the stack, because it is starting from the bottom and this is now the top. Right now it is the top. So stack pointer is always pointing to the top of the stack. Okay. Now how exactly the stack and stack pointer are going to function? So if you want a call instruction, means if you want to run a kind of a subroutine. So what will happen? Remember the previous slide, this was the contents of the stack pointer. Now if call instruction comes, then what will happen? First the stack pointer will get incremented, okay, First, remember, stack pointer is incremented first, and the contents of the PC are then copied to this location. Okay. Remember the sequence. First, the stack pointer is incremented, and then contents of the PCR are written here. And during a return instruction, the contents of this location, of this stack RAM location, are copied to the top, this TOS register. TOS means top of stack register, and then the stack pointer is decremented. Okay, so at the time of starting of the microcontroller, as you see, this is the stack pointer location. 00000 is the content of stack pointer. So whenever the first instruction which requires a call comes, what happens? It increments first, and program counter value is written here. That's why nothing can be written in this location, right? This you can remember using your logic, that this is the location at the time of reset of the microcontroller, and when a call instruction is coming, first the stack pointer increments, and then at this location the contents of program counter will be written. That's how this is always empty, or this is always 0. This location will always contain 0. That's why we can only write only 31 program memory locations in the stack. Means we can have only 31 combinations of call and return instruction, call and interrupt instructions. Okay, you got this? Now the last register we are going to see today is the bank select register, which we have already covered in our previous lecture, that the data memory address is 12-bit, maximum addressable memory space is 4 kilobytes. It is divided into 16 banks of 256 byte each, and the BSR, which is the bank select register, will hold the upper 4 bits of the 12-bit register, 12-bit RAM address. Okay, to load value into the BSR, this 4-bit value into the BSR, you can use move LB instruction. Of course, we are going to see this instruction, and we can load any value from 0 to 15 into this move LB. And we have also talked about this access bit A equal to 0. If A is equal to 0, BSR is ignored, and upper 4 bits of the address are taken with reference to the access bank. And when A is equal to 1, BSR is used, and upper 4 bits of the address are taken from the BSR. Okay, something like this. The banks are 0, 1, 2 up to 15 banks we have. Okay, each bank, inside each bank, the address is always 000 to, or you can see 00 to FF. You can see 00 to FF. Okay, inside each bank. Okay, and the upper 4 bits, because the total address is 12-bit, right? So 00 to FF is 8 bits. So upper 4 bits are coming from the BSR. So for BSR 0, the upper this bit is 0. Then for bank 1, this bit is 1. For bank 14, this bit is E. For bank 15, these 4 bits are 1111. So this is how the 12-bit addresses of the banks are created. Okay, so we will stop here. We are now running out of time. If you have any questions, you put on our WhatsApp group. Okay,